So if you guys saw my review for Mass Effect 1, you'd know I really enjoyed the first game. I was so excited to play the second installment that I jumped right into it as soon as I finished writing my review. But if you recall, I wrote that review last year and just now made a video for it. So you're probably wondering why I'm just now finishing Mass Effect 2 a year later. So when I started playing Mass Effect 2, I got kind of annoyed by all of the changes. Like not being able to just go and explore all the different planets with the Mako, or even the lack of navigational map when you were on foot. Even the controls were wonky, and I was so used to being able to run into cover, and now I had to press a button to do it. Not being able to talk to crew members whenever I wanted, but only at certain points that I had to find in a level. I really tried to get used to it, but all of that proved too difficult to get used to, and I'm a dang stubborn woman. I basically ended up switching off and playing something else. But on the bright side, all of the time that's passed has allowed me to better adapt and forget all of the things I had grown accustomed to in the first Mass Effect. I also bound the F key to my mouse, which made it easier for me to manage since I use the mouse for dashing and bullet jumping in Warframe. And there I was, all of a sudden, soaring through the game and doing all of the new content, finally. But still, I've got to say that compared to the first game, there are a lot of areas where the second game just doesn't compare. Okay, get ready for the complaints, guys, because they're coming. No maps outside of city areas, and no sense of where you actually are in a combat level. Major loss of customization. You go from several talents to only 4 in some cases. Upgrades are replaced by an upgrade terminal, which isn't awful, but there is still a level of customization that's lost, like not being able to pick rounds outside of talents, not being able to add different upgrades to weapons, etc. There's no Mako. Huge waste of a cool feature that really made the first game exciting for me. Think about all of the story missions that utilize the Mako and how it broke up gameplay. The Firewalker DLC is in no way, shape, or form a good replacement for the place the Mako held. No ability to talk to teammates whenever. Only certain little talking points. There wasn't always something new said, but usually people had something new to say in new areas. It was a nice touch, and it feels weird not being able to talk to them anymore directly in the field. Less new dialogue options with companions. You used to be able to talk to companions after every story mission, but now it seems there are only set-in-stone times you can speak to them. Romances feel even more limited. Now that I'm done complaining about lost features that really stood out to me, I will say that the loyalty quest in a lot of ways felt a lot better in this game. And now is the spoiler cut off, so if you don't want to hear specific details about Mass Effect 2, then bounce on out of here. So I really enjoyed how messed up Jacob's loyalty quest to find his dad was, and even going through the weird biotic orphanage with Jack was interesting too. Honestly, I can't think of a single loyalty mission that I didn't enjoy. They were all really fun and creative in terms of what you got to do. Thane had that cool espionage style stalking quest, and you also got to learn about his son. Miranda's quest added a whole new level of understanding to her situation, and it made me like her a whole lot more. In fact, I have to say that the place where ME2 shines the most is in the sheer spectrum of its cast. There's a little bit of everything, and I really love how you can delve into their past and help them move on before the big showdown. I just wish they could have allowed us to explore that a little more and to spend an equal amount of time on romance aspects instead of treating it mostly like an afterthought. Now, I'm not going to complain too much about how everyone except Garrus and Tali abandoned Shepard, and Kaidan's rejection hurt the most considering Shepard had zero say in what happened. I mean, I was dead, and I somehow get to choose who revives me and then makes my ship again while dead? Like, there are some confinements for that part of the game, but everyone knows Shepard won't just play nice with Cerberus forever, so why would Kaidan act like that? He acted like I kept it from him. Like I pretended to be dead. It's messed up. At least Rex has a good excuse since he becomes the leader of his clan. But Liara, Kaidan, it was just a bummer. Part of the magic in returning to a game like this is getting to see familiar faces again, not feeling borderline betrayed by them. But all of these flaws can be overcome by a really excellent story, right? Yeah, I believe so, but the hard truth about ME2 is that the story is not that good. In fact, there are parts of it that are outright stupid. Yeah, stupid. Okay, now, before you get all upset, this is me we're talking about. You know I'm going to back this up and explain what I'm talking about here. So, where do I start? How about the very beginning of the game? After everything BioWare built up in the first game, what happens before you can even do anything? Shepard dies. By no fault of your own, you just have to say RIP to Shepard, and personally, I think that's kind of bullshit. I don't like convenient plot reasons, and I don't like starting the game this way. Not after everything we went through in the first game. It just feels wrong on so many levels to have to watch the complete and utter destruction of the Normandy before the game even begins. And watching Shepard desperately struggle as they're catapulted down to some unknown planet just really sucks. All the motivation from the first game, gone. But okay, we're here, so let's deal with it. You soon learn that magical bad guys named the Collectors shot down the Normandy and left you for dead. Now what? Well, I'll tell you what, Cerberus gets their hands on Shepard's body with Liara's help and resurrects them from the dead. You basically get stuck working for or with Cerberus, depending on how you look at it, with the common goal in mind of defeating these Collectors who have been kidnapping whole human populations from isolated colonies. After hearing what the Collectors have done from veto on Freedom's Choice, though, this is at least a goal I can get behind. So what's the plan? Get strong and gather a team of capable companions to help you take them down. Sounds flimsy at best, but I guess we'll work on that. This is where I had the most fun after all, meeting all of the new crew, and most of the recruitment quests were really good. You can tell they put a lot of effort into these quests, and I'm all about that. I do find it kind of ironic, though, that you're basically collecting people yourself to combat the Collectors. But let's move on. Your first big face-to-face with the Collectors happens when you go to Horizon. It seems kind of strange that they just happen to attack a colony where one of your old crewmates is stationed at. Our good old pal Kaidan, or Ashley if you chose her in the first game. You soon realize that there are more of those weird husks from the first game, and you get to see the messed up cinema of people getting stung by insects and paralyzed in place. It seems the Collectors have a leader named the Harbinger, who has taken an interest in Shepard. It also seems very possible at this point that Harbinger attacked Horizon because Kaidan was there in the hopes it would lure Shepard in. After collecting more people for the team, you get to go back and do another story mission, and this was probably my favorite one. Basically, the elusive man feeds you a whole lot of bullshit about how he intercepted a Turian distress call. Somehow these guys managed to get word out about a collector ship attack, still got wiped out, but disabled the collector ship before they went down. Okay, sure. I mean, if you wanted a reason to distrust the elusive man, well, he gives you a lot of them. He sends you onto this supposedly disabled ship. But the experience at least is pretty amazing because the ship is so freaking cool. It's just massive. You get to see the pods and get the gist of the sheer amount of people they've taken. You also find out by the time the mission is over that the elusive man lied to you and that the collector ship was just a trap for the Harbinger to try and capture Shepard. But one of the amazingly cool things that you learn here, and this is one of the bits of story detail that I thought had some really good potential, but you find out that the Collectors are actually the Protheans. How wild is that? I was kind of blown away by it. I mean, it's also really sad too, but still, I liked being able to connect more of the original story together with this one. And who's the one in control of the Collectors? Did you guess Reapers? 'Cause Reapers, they're kind of the Mary Sues of the Mass Effect world, or so it would seem so far. So everything up to this point is still managing to keep me interested. I never felt like this was boring or like it was so far off base in terms of making sense, but I really disliked working for the elusive man and felt it was pretty obvious that he was screwing with Shepard in a bad way. But everything else felt decent at least. And I'm realizing now that I've been rambling on about the story for a long time now, and I want to get to the core of the problem instead of describing word for word the missions of the main storyline. So where's my beef? Where does my major complaint with the story lie? It lies in the ending. Now, most of the ending is executed really well. I loved how there were all of these steps, like upgrading the Normandy, all of these things that ensured nobody died during the advance, like finishing loyalty missions. I even really liked picking different companions to do different tasks as we infiltrated the Collector's base. I think it was pretty brilliant, honestly. It reminded me a lot of finishing up Origins, where you have to split everyone into teams to defend different parts of Denerim. Rescuing your crew that was kidnapped was another really cool part. It was awesome to see I was able to get them back. But I feel like the ending really fell apart when you follow to where those gray tubes lead and find out what the Collectors were doing with all of those humans. Why were they taking so many people and simply turning them into some kind of gray matter and siphoning it all into one location? It was for this. This is what it was for. I'd love to say I think this was a cool idea, but it's so freaking stupid. It's just dumb. It's a giant human. It looks like a freaking Terminator. What the hell is a giant human going to do in space? Is it going to Superman from one point of the universe to another? Maybe it'll have thrusters installed. I'm sorry. It's just so stupid. Sovereign made sense. It was a ship. It could travel in space and do whatever it needed to. But a human? Come on. It's like they're not even trying to make it make any kind of sense. Will the Reaper human fly in another Reaper ship? What makes the Reaper human so frickin' special? Why even do it? Now, some think that the Reapers decided to make a human Reaper because they were so impressed that Shepard had actually managed to kill a Reaper on their own. So impressed that they figured this must be the new hotness. We need to be a human too. But it's still just stupid. How the heck would a human body ever compare to the current awesome Leviathan model? I mean, not only is there the travel advantage, but there's also the surprise factor of making people think you're just a spaceship. It's also convenient to me that in explaining that Reapers basically make new Reapers by collecting thousands of source data, but somehow it didn't work with the Protheans, and instead they just turned into mindless drones to do the Reapers' bidding. They never bother to explain why it didn't work, though. It's just, nope, it didn't work, and now we're making a human Reaper. What's worse is that even though it's supposed to be in its, quote, larval form, unquote, and will supposedly need millions more human sacrifices to be a functioning Reaper, you somehow are able to get into your final boss battle with this stupid thing. It's just like, ooh, giant mechanical human boss fight. I was just not impressed at all. Once again, it was stupid. You manage to drop it, and what happens? Of course, the elusive man wants the collector base to himself. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, there's being dumb, and then there's just being a complete and total moron. After everything that Shepard uncovered, how the Reapers were even able to indoctrinate people when they were dormant on that one ship you visit. How could the guy ever think that even though the big Reaper baby had been dropped, that it would ever be safe to remain in such a place? I can't even imagine saying yes to him. I would be worried that even destroying the base might not actually destroy that thing, but it was a really nice touch when I told him to get bent and even Miranda took my side and quit Cerberus. That part I really liked. But like I said before, the crew is what makes the game shine, and they were doing a really good job with that, but there was obviously a struggle with how to end the game. But I loved how after it all, Shepard pulled her teammates from the rubble and how they made a run for it with all those collectors on their tail, and then Shepard's daring escape jumping through the air in slow-mo. I was thinking, oh god, she's not gonna make it, and then she did. I loved watching the Harbinger struggle to transfer whatever he was up to before the base got blown to smithereens, but I can't help but wonder what exactly he was doing. I'm sure that will come back to bite me in the third game. I have to assume that the sort of collectory Prothean form he was in was just being inhabited by a Reaper, likely the Reaper that they showed when he was releasing his consciousness, and that the Reaper's name was Harbinger. That was never really explicitly explained during the game, but you can kind of figure it out through context. I mean, if the Reapers made the collectors to do their bidding, then how else would they control them? I think what both baffles and excites me the most, though, about the ending is the diagram that Joker hands to Shepard. It sure looks like a Reaper, doesn't it? It could be that EDI was able to extract some data on the Reapers from the collector base, but it sort of seems like maybe they're thinking about designing a ship that looks like one. The very last shot is the biggest teaser of all, and I'm very thankful I don't have to wait to play the next game to find out. But it shows hundreds, if not thousands, of what look to be Reapers, and they're all gathered before a galaxy. One can only imagine what this means for the next game. Listen to me talking about this shit like it's relevant. I sure wish I could have been playing this and making contact back when it first came out. So now I'm headed into the third game, and I can't wait to see how bad the ending is. I still remember people complaining about the color-coded ending and how they were all basically the same. I don't know. I never looked into it much because I thought one day I actually wanted to play the game, and so I didn't want to know about it. But I won't deny I am hesitant to get invested in the game knowing that there is some huge controversy waiting for me at the end. I'm just going to have to suck it up and deal with it because after playing the first two games, I really just have to know how the third one ends. But Getting back to the second game, what was your favorite part about Mass Effect 2, and who was your favorite companion? I hope you've enjoyed my take on the game, and I'll enjoy getting into more detail on some of the romances I checked out. I'm betting you guys will be really curious to know who I think the best romance actually was too. One thing I want to mention before I leave is that I've been noticing lately that I've only been getting a fraction of views from my subscribers, and so I decided to take a look at how many of you have notifications turned on. Less than 10% have it turned on, and half of that has notifications through YouTube turned on, which is what you need to do in order to actually get the notifications. So if you want to make sure you know when my videos are released, head over to my channel page and click the bell. Then go into YouTube settings and turn on notifications as well. I used to think that subscribing was enough to see everything, but clearly people aren't seeing everything I post. I also want to announce that I finally finished Legionnaires. It's available on my Patreon, and up to Chapter 15 is currently available on other public platforms. Check out the links below to find the one you'd prefer to read it on. And please leave some feedback if you do check them out. I'm very responsive to comments on both Patreon and other writing platforms as well, so let me know what you think. I'll see you guys later.